Hello, everyone. My name is Chenny from Cofinger Holdings. I am the product manager of TestRay app. Welcome to today's micro webinar. Today, I'd like to talk about using Jira for requirement traceability. As we all know that in software development industry, we mainly focus on three items: requirements, test cases, and defects. Requirements include like general requirement and dev tasks, etc. So Jira natively can cover requirement and defect, but unfortunately, Jira doesn't have any concept of test management. That's why TestRay is here to help user to cover test management part. Additionally, TestRay can help user to connect all these three items together. I mean, the requirements, the test case, and the defect. Now let me demonstrate how TestRay can achieve this inside Jira. First of all, let me launch my demo instance and launch a Jira project. Okay, let me go to TestRay requirements page and launch a single requirement, this one. So this is a requirement inside Jira. If you scroll down, you will see the additional panels created by TestRay app. First one is requirement to help user to build requirement hierarchy. So this is a parent, these are the child requirements. It's quite clear and convenient in the requirement issue. Additionally, we have this test cases panel to make sure that test cases will be created and associated to this requirement automatically. Now let me create a test case. You can use create test case button and then give a summary. It is a test case to cover IEQ. It's just like that, and then create. You see, once the test case creation is done, these test keys will be associated to the corresponding requirement automatically. This is kind of connection between test keys and requirement so that the requirement traceability can be done. So if you want to learn more about your test keys and executions, you can simply go ahead and expand your test keys from this test keys list. So it will list the execution results with some icons. So red means it is failed, green means it is passed. If you want to see more, do more traceability for executions, you can simply click on this icon. You see the test keys run window will pop up and execution details will be there, like time step, like who executed, like defect information, even more the step, result, etc. All this information in this central dialog box. So on the right side, you see here, we have defects listed here. So these defects were created from this particular test plan and test case. In other words, the quality of this requirement is impacted by these defects. There's another case that, let's say you have a big user story or big requirement, you may have tons of test cases. So it is not possible you to check each of your test cases because it is really a time-consuming work, right? Then TestRay provide a separate defects panel on the right side to list all the defects. So all these defects reported from these linked test cases. So that means these defects are also reported against these particular requirements. So for product team or for the dev team, they can only check the status of these defects. If all defects reported here are in closed status or fixed status, it indicates that the requirement quality is good, and you can go ahead and to close this particular requirement. So this is from the requirement. Let me summarize again. The traceability from requirement is that from requirement, we get test cases information, we get result information, we get execution details information, we get defects information. We connected them all together in order to make a better traceability. Additionally, let's just open the test case to see what else information we can get to help such kind of traceability. So this is the test case issue. And on the right side, you will see the requirement, which is covered by this particular test case. So this is kind of traceability from test case, actually, from test case to requirement, and even more to result, to execution details, and to all these defects. So we connected them together. Now, if you go further to open a single defects, let's see what kind of traceability information we can get. So from the defect, we can trace back to its corresponding test cases, executions, and the impacted requirements. So all these items you say, if I open any of them from 3, the other 2 will be there. So it means from requirement, we get test case, we get defect. From test case, we get requirement and defect. From defect, we get test case and requirements. They are all connected together so that it helps user when you try to fix a defect. It is quite easy and convenient for you to track back to the corresponding test cases and requirements, etc. So when user is talking about requirement traceability, mostly we are interested in the traceability matrix. In TestRay, we do provide a traceability matrix here. Click on this traceability. You see here, we also have this kind of suite information to group and categorize your requirement. And actually on the right side, you see test case count and test plan count. It will show testing activities as well. So you can get your test activity information from a single requirement, or you can get this information from this central space. I mean, from a list of requirements, you can get all this information one by one. It's quite easy because they are all in the central page. You can gather such kind of testing information. So as I mentioned, you say when we are talking about requirement traceability, any team want to know the requirement traceability metrics from there to see all requirements and test cases and test results and defects information, right? So TestRay app do provide a separate page to centrally display traceability metrics. From the left navigation panel, you see there's a traceability page. Click on that. It will take user to traceability metrics page. First of all, we can pick up the fields to filter what kind of requirements we want to see in this matrix, because we may have like thousands of requirements, right? But in one sprint or in one version, maybe there are only tens of them. So let's just load my requirements for sprint 84. If I click on that, you see the traceability matrix content will be generated. So the first column is the requirements I filtered out from my Jira project. You see I have total of 7 requirements, and the second column are the test cases created by testing team in order to cover or to test this requirement. And the third column is the test plan from where those test cases were executed. Similarly, icon stands for different result. Still, green means passed, red means failed. If you want to go further for why the result is failed from this particular test case, you can simply click on this icon, and then it will launch test case run details dialog box to show the execution related data. For example, when executed, who did that execution, and what is the defect, and which step is found, etc. So we also provide a small bug icon to indicate that the test case, during the test case execution, there may have one or more defects reported. Click on this bug icon, you see the defect details window will pop up. It will show all the defects reported from these test keys and this particular test plan. So ideally, if the traceability metrics, if you see all these icons are in green color and there's no bug icon at all, means all these requirements are passed during the testing. In other words, the quality of this requirement is quite good. Now these requirements can be closed. Yeah, this is something related to our requirement traceability metrics, from requirement to test case to execution result to execution details and to defect. This report can be easily exported to Excel format for offline usage. Yeah, additionally, we also have some integration in the board so that in the Agile board, you can also read such kind of traceability information. So usually for any dev team, you see they have such kind of Agile board, and then they put some requirements here, and they want to check the status, they want to do the transitions. So if you click on any of the requirements here from Agile board, if I click on any requirements here, and on the right side, it will show the requirement details. This is quite typical in any Jira project, but additionally, with TestRay, we have these two icons. If you click on that, you see the requirement hierarchy is visible inside this window. And if you go further for next icon, it will show all the test cases we associated to this particular requirement. And if you want to see more, you say, I want to know the traceability, the test case activities from this particular requirement, and I also want to know the result. You also can do it from this panel. You see we have a test info 5, means there are 5 test cases created for this particular requirement. And if you want to track more, let's see the last round of testing result in the sprint. You can expand it. You see here the test plan and cycle information with result is displayed here. So this is quite easy and convenient for software team to track this kind of information. Yeah. Okay, that's all for today's webinar. If you have any question and want to learn more about our TestRay app, feel free to reach out to us at sales@gofingerholdings.com.